all intents and purposes, the structure for community policing is already existent in Nigeria. And we've abandoned it, and we're now talking about state police. Again, like I said earlier on, if we continue along the line without realizing the challenges that are inherent in state police, we're going to create 36 monsters that will now become huge problems. Instead of dealing with one monster that we have at the moment, NSAS happened, we all know why NSAS happened. We could go down and see ourselves along the route of having 36 monsters that are fighting, especially suppressing our human rights.
The call for the establishment of state police in Nigeria has gained momentum due to persistent insecurity across the country in the last decade. Many Nigerians believe that state police could enhance security and combat insurgency effectively. However, concerns have been raised regarding the potential abuse of state police by state governments, hence the apprehension among Nigerians. Despite the benefits state police could bring in addressing security challenges, the need to safeguard against misuse and ensuring accountability remains a critical aspect to consider in the debate.
Within this week, the committee of State Assembly speakers, also all the 36 State Assembly speakers endorsed the creation of state police. Our worry as experts is that they have not made that distinction between policing and police. Even the dialogue that the House of Rep held, where I was one of the technical experts, we had to call their attention. The dialogue itself was called State Policing Dialogue, but the discussion was around the creation of state police. So we drew their attention to remind them that there is a difference between policing and police. If you look critically at the concept of policing, at the moment in Nigeria, we have several MDAs, agencies of government, that are actually carrying out policing function. I will mention some of them quickly. You have the police itself. You have the NSCDC, Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps. You have the Federal Road Safety Agency. Then you have the anti-corruption agencies, the EFCC, ICPC. Then to an extent, you also have immigration. In some countries, that role, that immigration role, is actually a policing role. And then even to an extent, the VIO, which is in the Ministry of Transport, and several others. In fact, some would even tell you that what the military is currently doing, it's policing roles.
In order to gain a better insight into the concept of state police, Rootstv spoke with KABIRU Adamu, a globally renowned security expert. Adamu says the government has yet to make a distinction between state police and state policing to begin with, and the hastiness to create state police without the fundamental principles needed is worrisome.
The internal security hasn't improved is because the current structure of the Nigerian police is defective. Like I explained to you, you have several agencies that are carrying out policing functions, but they are now distributed among several ministries. So if we now go ahead to recreate the same philosophy at the state level, it means you are going to have not just one defective system, but 36 defective systems competing among themselves. Several issues came up, issues of funding, issues of jurisdiction, and then issues of interference by politicians, in particular the governors, who most of the opinion is that if the instrument of force that the police has is given to them, then what we will see are 36 states competing among themselves and sometimes even fighting. So those are some of the thoughts around state policing and state police.
Mr. Adamu says that creating state police at the moment is handing over the instrument of abuse to politicians, especially state governors, who will abuse the police apparatus when it is created.
The two things. First off, we've not defined what we want as police. Like I said, we've not made that distinction between policing and police. And the military intentionally balkanized the police. It was during the military era that the police was consistently balkanized. Now, 25 years into our democratic, this is the longest republic that we've had. our politicians have not deemed it fit to bring back a single police unit and make it effective. So yes, it's one of, I think, lack of understanding of the policing function. And then the other challenge too is accountability. At the moment, all you need to do is go to any event where VIPs are present. Go to Transcorp and you see the huge number of police personnel that will be deployed there. But I don't know where your village is. Go to your village. How many police will you find? In my village, I don't think you'll find more than 5. And even then, I doubt if they will have any vehicle. So accountability is very important. Why is it that the leadership of the police don't see it as necessary to deploy resources to the villages? They only deploy in the city center, and not just only to the city center, but also deploy to VIPs. When, for instance, they could deploy in concentric cycles. What do I mean by that? If you go to Maitama, how many access routes are there in Maitama? Instead of deploying in the Transcorp, why can't you deploy in such a way that the exit and entrances of Maitama, so that once there is any offense, you can just round up and then make sure you arrest who does that. Go to our banks. How many police personnel are deployed to our banks? Go to the oil companies. How many are deployed to the oil company? So accountability is another element. The monies that are paid by all of these organizations and individuals that I've mentioned, where is that money going to? Is it going to the treasury, to government coffers, or is it going to the hands of individuals? So both operational and financial accountability are issues.
Speaking further, Kabiru highlights the challenges faced by the police as an institution. He defines financial and operational accountability as the biggest challenges of the current police force.
Some of the challenges at the federal level at the moment is issues around accountability. I spoke about it earlier, both operational accountability and financial accountability. Others have to do with training, then of course even the curriculum of, not many of us have sat down to ask. So the Police Act was revised in 2020. The elements that led to NSAS, especially abuse of human rights, how much of the introduction, the new issues in the Police Act have now reflected in the training curriculum of our police academies and other training institutions? Not very much. So we've created an act, but the implementation, I think, is next to nothing. Now, we're not going to bring foreigners from the US or wherever. If we're going to do state police, we're likely to pick from the same federal policing to go, just like it happened in Amotekun and the other vigilantes. We took the police to go and train them. That's why you are hearing abuses and other challenges with those vigilantes.
Adamu proposes retraining and revision of the current police curriculum, as the lack of training and operational organization of the police force has led to human rights abuse by the Nigerian police force.